Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Energy If You Know, You Know, the podcast that provides a platform for the Gen Z workforce to share their unique perspectives, ideas, and aspirations as they shape the energy industry's future. Today we have with us Kristi Dang. Kristi's journey in the US started 6 years ago for college. She graduated with a bachelor's degree in industrial engineering from the University of Houston and is currently working at SLB as a quality engineer. I'm so happy to have you here today, Kristi, and get to know more about you and your journey.
Hi, Saloma. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here. Um, so
Let's
my
get
name is
started.
Kristi. Yeah, let's
Yeah.
get started.
So tell us more about you, why you chose industrial engineering and how you got to where you are today.
So a little bit background of me. I am a Vietnamese-born Chinese. I was born and raised in Vietnam, and then I came here to the US when I was 19 years old. At a time, studying abroad is a luxury concept that I never thought that would become a reality. I remember I was a freshman at a time. I was working as a server for pretty high-end restaurant at a time. And then one day I was serving this VIP group of customer from the US. And I was pouring wine for them. We chat for a little bit. And then they know I was a student. And then they start asking me a bunch of questions like, oh, what's your major? What do you want to do? What do you want to do when you graduate? That that moment kind of caught me off guard a little bit. Like I don't know. Like I'm just trying to make a living. I'm a student right now. I don't know what I'm gonna do. But um, but the last question they asked me, they was like, "You ever thought about coming to the U.S. for school or for work?" And I was like, "Wow, I never thought of that." But now that you asked me, you got me curious. And then after that night, I started researching a lot about school in the U.S., the visa, saving money, all that. And then while I was doing all that, I didn't tell anybody, not even my family, because I think they're all gonna think I'm crazy. This is not real. They're gonna stop me. But long story short, very lucky. I somehow get my visa. I jump on a plane with a one-way ticket and started out in community college. And then why did I get into engineering? Because I think, to be honest, at that time, I'm just thinking, well, I'm gonna choose a major that's going to make money. And I think that's what get me into engineering, because I think, well, this sounds cool and it make money. So that's just how I started.
Interesting. Thank you for sharing that. That just shows how one question could spark a different path, a path that
Yeah.
you didn't really know existed and you wanted to take. So you accidentally fell into industrial engineering, I'm assuming. You were just looking for a STEM degree. But could you share with us how you stuck with this major and how it aligns with your values?
So I think at a time, I know I want to study engineer, but I don't know what kind of engineer I want to study. So I start doing some research, do a lot of digging, and industrial engineer is the one that caught my attention. Um, and so to me, I think in a very simplistic term, industrial engineering is about making things better, improving, continuous improve thing, to add value to an existing process, system, organization. And then to me is I don't think I could name any industry that say they don't need continuous improvement. So I think there's always be a demand for that. And then I think you may not be able to see the instant impact of the continuous improvement, but it will add up quickly. And then I I think carry that lean mindset in the long term, it will um, it will bring a lot of benefit in the long term. And then I think I take a lot of pride in doing that to make people jobs safer, to make the workplace better, to make the process, the product cheaper, faster, better. So I really enjoy doing and being an industrial engineer. And then I think the second reason is that even though I enjoy solving problem using technical knowledge, but by heart, I think I'm a people person. And then industrial engineering is a really people-oriented engineering. So you're not just dealing with the system or technical stuff all the time, but you get to interact with people a lot. You learn about people, the process. So I think it's really cool.
That's awesome. So you are exercising both your soft skills and your technical skills with this degree, which is great. And you just highlighted one thing, that industrial engineering, there's different industries need industrial engineers. So it seems like you just also fell into the energy sector as well. Kind of, it seems like your path, the path that you were taking was all just coincidences happening. And I'd like to highlight, and I wanted to ask you about how you got into the energy sector. I know that you mentioned to me earlier before that you were at your recruitment fair at university, and you happened to stumble upon a recruiter at your current company. And can you tell us more about this interaction and how it got you to where you are today?
So when I was still in school, I know that I want to be in the manufacturing field because I think there are going to be a lot of opportunity for me to use my industrial engineering skill set, and then to apply what I learned to improve the quality of manufacturing. But I didn't know what sector or what industry I want to go into. But being in Houston, I think I just very naturally leaning toward the energy sector. Um, and then I'm also very glad to be here to do my very, very small part of creating energy for modern living. And also, I want to be a part of the solution. I want to be a part of reducing the carbon emission, reacting to climate change. So I think that really aligned with what I value.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you. So you joined SLB after applying to so many other companies, and like all of us, you face rejections and it's very difficult. But there's what what helped you get into SLB? What did you learn from the rejections you got from past interviews that you had? And what did you fix with yourself? Not fix, but kind of lessons learned that you carried with you through the SLB interview process that helped you get your role, or at least you think that helped you get your role. Can you
So
share with us? Yeah.
yeah, thank you for the question. I think for people that in school or applying for job, I think we all can relate that we get a lot of rejection. Job searching is not an easy process. And like everybody, I faced so many rejection before I get an offer with SLB. So when I got an interview with SLB, to me at a time, I was thinking, okay, this is just not an interview. And then I didn't have much expectation for it. But that 30-minute interview with my recruiter at the time really changed my perspective on a lot of things. And then it's got me really passionate about I want to work for SLB. So a little bit about my recruiter, why I got so excited. So that 30-minute interview, to me, it doesn't really feel like interview. It's like a conversation with someone that, because I think the reason I feel so resonate with her is she is also an engineer. She started off as field engineer, and she worked on so many different roles in different country in for SLB. And then at a time I was like, wow, I didn't know as an engineer you can do so many things, like you can do that many different roles like that. So I feel like, and I think that what attracted me, because I think one of the reasons I pick industrial engineering is because it's so versatile. I don't get put in like a certain role or a certain area. And yeah, I really enjoy that. And I remember after that interview, I was like, well, I don't know if they want me, but at that time I know I want to work for SLB. Like I was determined to get in. So
Okay, and after getting your interviews, why were you so relaxed while you were taking the interviews? What did you learn from your past experiences?
I think from my past experience, so every time after interview, like I start reflecting about the interview that I have, and I was like, is there anything I can do better? Blah blah. And then I realized that for those interview, I feel like I tend to be really like 10 because I was like so focused on impressing the interviewer.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when you interview for a job, you're not just it's like a two-way street, like a two-way conversation. You're not just answering the question, but you also ask them question. Like you know what you bring in the table, but you also know that what environment what you gonna get from it, what you getting yourself into. I think so. It's a two-way conversation.
Okay, that's so you brought yourself to the table and you interviewed them. You didn't just allow them to interview you. And no,
Um, Yeah, I think not just I guess be curious about them as well.
okay.
Not like I'm interviewing them, but be curious to really learn about the company, about the role, about the hiring manager, what their leadership style. So you know if it's aligned with what you value, then
Mm-hmm.
it would be a good fit for both.
That's very good advice. How was your onboarding journey and did you feel left out because you didn't have any like energy background, oil and gas background?
Ooh, my onboarding journey, I would say it is a good mix of excitement and then intimidation. Because I think the first two weeks was great. At that time, I was brought into an environment where I know nothing about. We were sent out for a 2 week training where we learned about the very fundamental of oil and gas,
Mhm.
um, how to pick a well, all the drilling, and you also get to play oil simulation. Planning to pick a well, planning how to drill, and then when you get your first barrel of oil, that's the excitement. I think yeah, I was really excited about that part because every day I go to work, I feel like I'm learning something new. But at the same time, it can be quite overwhelming. And then it was a constantly, I have a lot of self-doubt. I don't know if I'm able to absorb all this information. I don't know if I'm good enough to be here. And then the next day, I'm like, oh, I'm so excited. I want to learn about all this. So it's just like a roller coaster up and down for the first, I think, couple of months. My
Which is pretty normal. Coming out of school, you don't have exams anymore. You're not
yeah.
studying for something. You're just learning a lot. It's a steep learning curve. Could you tell us about a time when you felt like you didn't belong and you were questioning whether or not you were suited for the position you were in? And how did you overcome it? And what lessons did that teach you?
I think as I mentioned earlier, I think the first 3 months is when my imposter syndrome kicked in the hardest. I was I was excited to learn, but at the same time, I was so insecure, doubt myself a lot. I don't know if I will be able to get it. I don't know if I'll be able to add value to the production line that I'm in charge with. I don't know what I'm doing here. And I don't want to let my recruiter down. I think that's one of the biggest reasons that get me going. And then I think how I overcome it is so one day I went out for lunch with a very good friend of mine. So she is my college friend. We graduated and kind of start our first job at the same time. She was so smart. She was the top graduate in my class. And then during that lunch, she started sharing with me about her job. She feel very stressed. She described exactly the same thing as I described earlier. She also feel insecure. She also feel that she's not good enough for the role. And then at that time, I was like, wow, so I'm not alone. Like, I'm not dumb. Maybe we just need a little bit more time to figure a thing out. And that's okay if we don't have it figured out right now. We just keep trying. And then after she shared that with me, it also got me open up and share my experience back to her. And then we both just encourage each other. Okay, we got to keep going. We got this. So I think that really helped me through it. And another thing is, I think vulnerability is not a weakness, like it's a sign of strength, because she was brave enough to share with me she's struggling, and that really create a safe space for me and like allow me to also share my struggle. And I think that's very beautiful.
That's great. I love that you went and you seeked out like a peer that you are trustworthy, and that you guys were able to share that. It's very wise to take that lesson with you, just to keep moving on and to push and to like not give up. That's very, I'm glad that you two came to that mutual understanding and have each other to encourage and to push further. Now,
We have each other.
yeah, that's great. And speaking of network, so you have her from school, but within the energy network, I know that you're known for networking and I've seen you around. What is one piece of advice you could offer to our listeners on how young professionals could build that kind of supportive network?
I think to me, one of the biggest perk of working in corporate, and I really enjoy, is they offer so many training resource, technical learning, leadership learning, and also like all kind of networking event. And to me, I think is I need to take full advantage of that. Like imagine all this training classes that I used to have to pay $100 to take. Now I can take it for free. And all this networking event, they offer free food, and I get to meet a lot of like awesome people to talk to. So I think it's a win-win solution. And if I can't give a piece of advice in that regard, I would say don't be afraid to put yourself out there to meet and talk to people, and to throw yourself out the comfort zone. And then because when you throw yourself out of the comfort zone, you eventually like kind of expand and grow your zone. And even if you don't feel comfortable talking to people, like just be there. Just if you feel intimidated, you feel like you don't belong, and well, I feel the same too. You know, I think what you gain eventually from those kind of event, those kind of training is it's gonna outweigh all the uncomfortable feeling that you have.
I absolutely agree. That's very good advice. It will outweigh for sure.
Yeah.
Um, let's talk about mentorship. Can you discuss the role of mentors and what they've played in your career and how they've influenced your professional growth?
So talk about mentorship, I think I am very blessed that at every stage of life, whether in school or at work, I found people who are inspiring, people that I looked up to and give me advice and guidance. Um, I remember during COVID, I was a junior at that time, and I think that was one of my lowest time also. I was very close to dropping out of school. Um, I couldn't afford to pay for rent, to pay for college, to keep going anymore. But then this one professor um, in my class, she is um, she know that I'm struggling, and then she helped me to encourage me to apply for more scholarship to keep me going. And then luckily during that time, I was able to get some scholarship to kind of pay for school and then keep going for a little bit. But still, I don't have that mental capacity for school. And during COVID, it's all virtual class, and I also struggle with online learning so much. But she just keep encourage me. She mentored me, and then I remember she said, "Okay, you good student. You're gonna make through it." And at that time, I was like, "Wow, she believed in me even when I didn't believe in myself." So I couldn't let her down, and I just keep moving. So I think having someone that you trust, someone that you respect, that mentor you, guide you through is so important. And then also at work, I think I'm very blessed to also have a very supportive manager. Um, I remember one time I started my this role for two months, and I was still very new to the facility and all that. And then one day he asked we have a one-on-one conversation, and he asked me, "Oh, how it's working here so far," and then stuff like that. And then there's one question he asked me that I remember vividly. He asked me, is there anything that you wish I do differently that can help you? So at that time, I was very touched by that. And I was like, wow, this is I think this is the kind of manager I want to be, like I aspire to be. Um, so I think good mentorship is so important for professional growth.
Okay. Thank you for being that vulnerable and sharing all that with us. Thanks, Kristi. Appreciate it. Now, I guess this makes sense because of what you just shared with us. But what is the significance of the phrase, "Don't let anyone dictate who you can be," mean to you? And what does it mean in your life right now? And how do you live by it?
Mm, I think starting off, I grew up in a quite traditional Chinese family where boy are more favor over girl, and I don't have, like, my family didn't have much expectation on me in terms of have to get good grade at school, you have to be so successful at school, or you have a career and all that. And all the expectation is just get married, settle down for that. And I remember growing up, I was a very rebellious kid. Like, I always go against what my family wanted me to do. And so I I think, but I'm really glad that I did that, because I don't want to be put in a certain box and say, "Hey, stay there. This is your place." Like, no, I'm not gonna stay there. I'm gonna, do. I'm gonna have my dream. I'm gonna do what I want to do. So, because this is my life, I'm not gonna wait till I'm old and then regret that I didn't chose the path that I want to chose, and I go with to meet the expectation of my family. So I think that's how I live by. I will chose what made me happy, because I think just like if you want to take care of people, you got to fill your cup first. If I don't have that energy, if I don't feel good about myself, if I'm not happy, I couldn't share that energy to people around me. So that's what I live by.
You've been breaking glass ceilings, it seems like, since you were young, and I love it. Keep on going.
Thank you. Thank you.
Finally, but not finally. So, finally for you, in your journey so far, what has been the most important lesson or insight that you would like to pass on to others, especially those considering a similar career path?
I think one of the biggest thing I learned is the ability to delay gratification. This is from a personal experience because I am a very impulsive person, very action oriented. Like if I think of something, I will do it. That is my strength, but it's also cost me trouble sometimes because I act too quickly. I didn't have a chance to pause, or if I want, self-control is not so great when I was younger. So the ability to learn delay gratification really helped me to focus on what's important, to focus on my goal, and just go after it instead of get distracted by so many things around. And then I think the second piece of advice I would say is always be curious. Be curious about the be curious about people around you. Because I believe that you have something you learn from everybody that around you. You just need to ask questions. And then also be curious to learn more skill, more knowledge every day, because you never know when you're going to use it. It might be come in handy sometime, so be curious is a big thing to me. Last but not least, take risks, and don't afraid to take risks. Like do the thing that scares you. Even if you're scared, do a scare thing.
Thank you. I love those. Thank you for sharing those. It's very, very valuable. Now I have surprise 5 questions for you. 5 questions. So to end this podcast, I have a series. I've been doing it at the end of every podcast. A series of rapid fire questions, and the questions are in this or that format. So I have 5 questions for you, and they're going to be this or that.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Ready.
Let's do it. Would you say you're more drawn to the technical aspects of your work or the interpersonal and communication aspects?
Communication aspect.
Okay. Would you rather participate in local energy-related community events or engage in international energy conferences?
International conference. I think it's really depends on what state of life that I'm in. I feel like right now, since I was still young, I want to be able to go internationally, like absorb as much as I can, and then I bring all that knowledge I learned from everywhere to my local community, so I can grow it. Like bring the new stuff to my community.
That's a very good answer. Books or podcasts for expanding your knowledge on leadership and leaving long-lasting impact?
I'm sorry, can you say again?
So books or podcasts for expanding your knowledge on leadership?
One of the podcasts I really like, I think it's one of my favorite, is Flipping the Barrel.
Okay. Yeah.
I've been
We all love it.
Yeah, I love it. I've been listening to that when I first working in the energy sector, because at that time like I know nothing about the industry. So I try to listen to people that in the industry for a long time and hear what they say, and I just got so hooked by that. I love it.
I love that they made an impact on at least one person we know.
Right. Yeah.
That's great.
Absolutely.
Is your primary focus in your career on making an immediate impact or creating a long-lasting legacy in the energy industry?
I would say I want to create a long-lasting legacy in the industry.
Okay. And last but not least, in overcoming imposter syndrome, do you believe it's more about building self-confidence or seeking external validation from mentors and peers?
I think to overcome imposter syndrome is about working hard to attain more knowledge and skill that you get more confident about yourself. Because I think it's hard to just seek that validation from anybody. Like if you don't feel confident about yourself, you don't feel good that you're confident about the knowledge that you have, then it's really hard. So I think it's at the end of the day, it just it's about you.
It is. And that's a great way to end it. At the end of the day, it's all about you.
Yeah.
Great way to end it, Kristi. I love it. Thank you so much for being so vulnerable and sharing your experience with us. You will continue to break glass ceilings, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for you. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Saloma. I really enjoyed this section. And then I hope this, by me being vulnerable, by me sharing my own story and my experience, it can help even one person. Even if I can inspire one person, I think I already very happy. That's why I'm here.
I love it. You will. Thanks so much.
So much.
All right. See you next.